Photographing urban scenes at nighttime with mixed lighting can create for some ugly and undesired colour casting. So in today's video, I'm going to show you guys how you can fix the typical orange colour cast with the temperature slider, as well as a few more tricks to really make your photos stand out. And I'm going to start right now. Now, I do think the biggest challenge when it comes to photographing at night in an urban environment is going to be white balance and colour temperature. Making sure your colours look just right, as well as taking into consideration all of the different values that you might be surrounding. Take this photo here as an example. I shot this on auto white balance, so this is the camera's interpretation of what is correct, and I would say that looks way too warm. But don't forget, it's taking in these tungsten lights, it's taking in the lights with the passing of the bus, it's also taking in the lights above me, as well as all the lights you can see surrounding. There's probably 20 or 30 different lights in this one photo, and this is a fairly narrow perspective. You know, it's only a shot on a 35mm. If you were shooting even wider, there's even more lights to take into consideration. So what can we do to fix this? Well, the first tool is, let's go ahead and open up the white balance tool. So once we're in our develop panel, we're going to drop down to our basics panel. This is where we can change our white balance, and currently it's at 5,000 Kelvin. So the very first thing I recommend is let's cool this down. At night time, we shouldn't see too many warm tones. Realistically, we're shooting in blue hour, so we should see a lot of blue and cooler tones in the photo. So my favorite number is between 3,000 to 4,000 Kelvin. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and drop this down. I'm gonna drop it down to around about 3,500 Kelvin in this example. Now what I'm also gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and brighten this photo up a little bit. I'm going to add in a little bit of contrast. I'm also going to bring down the power of those highlights. They're very strong in this image, as well as I might bring back some of that information found in the shadows, as well as I might brighten those whites a little bit and also bring down those blacks. Now with texture, clarity and dehaze, I'm just going to add in a little bit of each, but I'm going to leave vibrance and saturation alone. Now I'm still not finding this particular look very good. I'm still finding it's a little bit too warm. That is when we can now use the color mixer tool. Now this is great because it's split up into 8 color bands, as well as we can target the anatomy of our colors. So that's the hue, which is the type of color, saturation, which is the amount of color, and then lastly we've got luminance. So what I'm gonna do is open up the basics panel and now drop down to the color mixer tool. Now this is where we can play around with what colors are in our image. Now in this example, I might want to remove some of those warmer tones and emphasize more of those cooler tones. So with the saturation open, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring down the red, bring down the orange and bring down the yellow, but not by too much, because don't forget the red underground logo that we've got there. We don't want to target that. But then what we can do is go to the aquas, we can go to the blues and bring those up. And you can see we're adding more emphasis to those tones. Now what I might do is actually go to the red in this specific example, because we've got the red underground logo. I might actually bring back up just for that reason, but I'm definitely going to reduce those yellows you can see here. And then if we go over to hue, which is the type of color, what I might do is I might go to the blues, make them a little bit stronger, and bring those aquas to make them a little bit more blue. And then with the greens, slide that over as well. And then with the yellows, I'm also going to slide that over to the right. And I'm going to leave reds and oranges because again, that's going to target that underground logo and I don't necessarily want to affect that. Now already it's starting to look a lot better than what it was, but there's one more tool we can use, and that is the color grading tool. And it's probably the most useful tool when you want to remove an ugly color cast, because we've got the full color spectrum to play with. So instead of going into the color mixer tool, let's drop out of that and go to the tool just below it. And what it is it's split up into 3 sections. You've got shadows, midtones, and highlights. And what's really nice about this is we can apply a certain color to those values. So if you want to apply just yellow to the highlights, we can do that. And you can also mess around with the blending and balancing as well. And I'll show you guys how to do that in a second. Now, obviously we want to add more of a cooler, more bluer theme to this image. So what I'm going to do is go to my shadows here. I'm going to go ahead and select a blue tone. So I'm probably going to go ahead and select, let's say, blue of 220 in this example. Go to my saturation here and go ahead and add that in. And what this will do is it will apply a cast over that specific tone, which is the shadows in this example. Saturation of around 25. And then with the highlights, which I think is the main issue in this particular case, let's go ahead and do the same, but not the same blue. Let's go for a slightly lighter blue. So I might go with a hue of, let's say, 200 in this example. And then again, go to the saturation here, and go ahead and add that in. The more you add in, the stronger that cast will be. So I'm going to go in for around about, again, 25, I think, in this example seems to work. And you can see it's applied a certain hue over all of the saturated tones in the image. Now, I'm still finding that red just a little bit soft. So what I might do is go to the color mixer tool, open up saturation, and add in a little more emphasis to that red just to fix the red underground logo. You might not have to do that in your photo, but actually I think it will work quite nice in this image. And what I might do is just overall bring up the brightness of this image you can see. And immediately, I think it's fixed a lot of that ugly color casting you can see. So what I can do is show you the before, which you can see there is a lot of reds, lots of oranges, feels very warm and just a whole scattering of color. And then after, we've fixed a lot of those colors by emphasizing more of that blue and kind of unifying the image. Now, obviously you could do a lot more. So if you want to have a full deep dive and how to really create this beautiful urban moody look, then go ahead and watch my longer color grading video that you can find here. But if you just want to fix ugly color casting in your night urban cityscape photos, then hopefully this video has helped you out. Here is the before, and here is the final result. Thank you to all my YouTube members that are currently supporting the channel. If you guys want to support the channel and get some awesome perks, including free Lightroom presets, make sure to go ahead to the link in the description. I've been James for Photo Fever, and I'll catch you guys on Thursday.